We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. How are you doing?
You know, we have two separate intros for the show. We have the Gus Johnson inspired intro, which it just did, and then we have the classic one, which is Anchors Up, Sails at Full, because it's a boat thing, and the sloop's a boat. It's a pun. And then for whatever reason, when I was gearing up for that one, I'm like, gonna do the anchor, and then just for whatever reason, the other one came out of my mouth. No one cares about this except for me.
Oh, our sloop cats care about it, Jared. I know they do.
Oh yeah, the inner workings of my mind, and which starting tagline I start with is, of course, of the highest interest to everybody listening, including the dedicated folk over at Buckeye Huddle who make sure to dislike my videos instead of just, not watching them.
Well, let's get into why people are listening to us, and that is knowing your enemy, the Purdue Boilermakers. But before we get to know thy enemy, let's talk about Ryan Day. Yeah, let's talk about Ryan Day and his presser this afternoon as we are recording this, that we will be posting a couple of days later. So always fun.
Podcast delay.
Fun podcast delay. Probably a big topic here. Emeka Egbuka, status of him. Where is he at here since his injury? Ryan Day pretty much says it's not a long-term issue. Not going to worry about it. To me, I read that tea leaves as probably not going to see him in this game here. Going to keep him healthy for the following week against Penn State.
Spoiler alert. Purdue's not very good. Now, does that mean you should walk into this game without any worries? No, you should not. But also, Purdue's not very good.
Definitely shouldn't, and I'll give you a good reason why shortly in a little bit here. Trey Henderson, Trey Hundo, as we like to call him here in our Discord, which, by the way, discord.thesloopcast.com, always be plugging. I got it that time. He's full go, ready to go for the Purdue game here, so expect a lot of number 32 this weekend. And speaking of running back, and speaking of running backs, Dallin Hayden had a really good game last year and reserved for a very depleted running back room last year. And a lot of people were like, where's Dallin Hayden? Where's Dallin Hayden at here? We haven't seen him at all. Well, Ryan Day kind of already spilled the beans, and that when I spilled the beans, but he pretty much said that they're trying to redshirt him this year, save him for next year. But said if need to be called upon, he's ready to go there.
I mean, you get 4 games, but you might need those 4 games down the stretch, in which case you can have your cake and eat it too, of having a really good backup running back who can also redshirt, so just save it, because this running, I mean, you're probably losing Henderson at the end of the year. I believe Trainum's out of eligibility. You lose those two, I think, without question. And then it's totally plausible that a third running back leaves. So, the 2 running backs that remain should have plenty of carries available to them.
Yep. All right. Some other things that I wanted to just make note here. There's a lot of other topics here. Just some things here that I think a lot of Buckeye fans are really curious about here, and that's running the ball here. Ryan Day says that he feels Ohio State still needs to run the ball and can't rely on the passing game. Now, if you listen to us on the Scarlet and Grade episode of the Maryland game this past Monday, we were under the we pretty much said that they should just focus on the passing game, do what they are doing well in, and that's passing. And maybe they need to pass more to set up the run game here. But Ryan Day seems to be thinking the opposite here. He's still going to try to force the run here, trying to get it to work here.
And by the way, against Purdue, he should.
Mm-hmm. And he talks about the offensive line. Says that they've been working on various lapses and hand placements and techniques. It goes on to say, I always say execution fuels emotion. And I don't think they're not playing hard. So that tells me that poor coaching or execution on the, and yeah, some of it's talent. Yeah. Yes. But you see a lot of these other teams who have less talent on the offensive line that's doing well.
Right.
And you would think that Ohio State should be able to do more with the talent that they have on the offensive line.
Those offensive lines who you see who are less talented, as far as, especially if you want to talk about recruiting stars, but are very productive, are in places like Iowa or Wisconsin, where a lot of their offensive linemen are like 5th year or 4th year guys. The problem is at Ohio State is when you get a Paris Johnson Jr., he only stays for 3 years. So you get these splashes of talent on the offensive line, but you aren't getting, 5th and, with the COVID year still being a thing, 6th year players along that offensive line. I mean, there is one, but that, there's one. Meanwhile, you're starting a freshman, a left tackle who's never played left tackle before, a right tackle who is in his first year playing. You do have experience at the guards, but you have a freshman center. So it's kind of worst of both worlds. There's an 8th year offensive lineman in the Big 12 this year. Dude's got his doctorate.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be.
The
sad news is there has to be some injuries. Like, there's some medical red shirts in there.
So the last thing here, I thought this was really interesting topic, and then we'll finally get into Purdue here, talking about Purdue. So we had somebody asking about Ryan Day's thought on officiating. And of course, Ryan Day can't talk about the officiating, but he does say, it's hard for me to say much.
Sure.
Yeah. But I can tell you this, it's my job to advocate for the players and compete. I'm going to go as hard as I can to defend our players to ensure they have the best opportunity they can to be successful. So pretty much
amazing political answer. That is Tressel-esque right there.
That is Tressel-esque. I wonder if he had Tressel write that up for him. It says, if you've ever been asked this type of question, you should say this. Word from word.
Austin says the doctor lies, but the lawyer speaks. The doctor lies, but the lawyer speaks. Ooh. Damn, that's a good line.
All right, Jared.
But by the way, if you on the offensive line, various lapses in hand placement and technique. My goodness, where have we heard this already? Except right here on the Sloopcast. Been telling y'all that the hand tech has been terrible. And I've been saying it for a month now.
Speaking of terrible, know your enemy, Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue comes into this game 2-4. I missed a number there. It is 2-4, 1-2 in the Big Ten here, Jared. Now,
ask Sloopcast. What's a Boilermaker? The steam engine.
Choo choo.
Specifically the steam engine.
Yeah.
Or it's an alcoholic drink in which you drop a shot inside of a beer. That's also a Boilermaker.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so couple of things when you talk about Purdue. You talk about on the road in the Big Ten West, but it's not a night game, Jared. It is not a night game, so it doesn't apply to one of our rules of don't play on the road in the Big Ten West at night. So interesting thing here. I gotta find where I posted this at here, but there was a stat here about Ohio State coaches.
The
last 4 Ohio State head coaches from this century. So Cooper, yes, Cooper did coach this century. Tressel.
Technically, he didn't.
Cooper, Tressel, Fickle,
the
and
century
Meyer.
Doesn't actually start until 2001.
Since 2000, all 4 head coaches prior to Coach Ryan Day have all lost to Purdue at least once.
Yeah. That stat feels a bit like a novelty. So let me do this one, which I think sounds worse. I think this sounds worse.
All right.
Ohio State is 2-4 in their last 6 visits to Purdue.
That one hurts more.
I'm going to say it again. In their last 6 visits to West Lafayette, Ohio State is 2-4. That's a scary stat. So that is a viciously scary stat.
All right, so let's look at this team that's looking to improve their home record against Ohio State here.
So
Purdue overall, we said that we said this a couple of times already with Purdue in past episodes, and I feel like we're going to say it again. This is not a good Purdue team here.
No.
Offensively,
neither was the team that ran us off the field the last time we were in West Lafayette. So
they're putting up 390 yards a game, letting up 380, so about even there. They are scoring 25 points a game, letting up about 28 points a game. So they keep games close here, but I think the key difference here is you got to look at who they played here. Lost to Fresno State, who Fresno State's actually good this year. They beat Virginia Tech and Illinois, but lost to Syracuse, Wisconsin, and Iowa. All of those, actually, their losses to Wisconsin was their biggest one, where they lost by 21 points.
Yeah. Ironically, their loss to Iowa 20-14, because it's Iowa. It felt a lot worse than that. I'll just say that it felt a lot worse.
Because
it didn't ever really seem like they were in that game for what it's worth, even though they only lost by 6. But yeah, let's talk a bit. Let's talk a bit about the team. Let's talk a bit about the players. Hudson Card, quarterback Hudson Card. So if you're thinking to yourself, Hudson Card, where have I heard that name before? In the quarterback carousel that is modern college football. He used to be the starting quarterback for the not Houston. Why the hell did I say Houston? For the Texas Longhorns. And for a bit of Buckeye lore, he was he was mid. He was very mid. Yes. He was the high school quarterback for one Mr. Garrett Wilson. So maybe that helped in him getting a scholarship to Texas. Yeah, I think he was actually his first year. I don't think he played, but I think his first year was actually in 2019. Didn't, like I said, didn't play. Probably redshirted. I mean, it definitely didn't hurt. Yeah, it didn't. Having Garrett Wilson to throw to definitely helps. Kyle, I need a grade on this one. Their primary running back is Devin Mockabee.
Nailed it.
Nailed it?
Nailed it.
Ooh,
You nailed it.
I gotta nailed it.
It's not like we practiced that beforehand.
You practiced it. I listened, but I did listen to you practice it.
Sure.
Okay. We do try sometimes, guys. Also receiving a decent number of carries is Tyrone Tracy Jr. But Mockabee tends to be the primary guy. Wide receiver Dion Burke is their primary wide receiver. 24 catches, nearly 400 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the season. Dion Burke versus Denzel Burke writes itself. Aside from that, they tend to spread the ball around a lot. I think I didn't write this stat down, but they have like a bunch of receivers. I want to say it's meant 10 receivers, 10 different players with 20 plus receptions, something crazy like that. Kyle, can you confirm that for me?
Maybe not quite that many.
Yeah, it probably wasn't 20. Like I said, I forgot to write it down. I downloaded Peacock and part of me just died. It's okay, Woody. You'll survive. Do they have a free trial? Is there like a 7-day or maybe a 14-day free trial? Just make sure you cancel it. Remember to cancel it. Leave a thing in your calendar to be sure to cancel it.
Here's their top receivers here. So they have 4. Yeah, they have 4 that has 22 or more. So 22, 24, 24, 25 catches.
What was the stat? Now that's going to bug me. Whatever. I move forward. Maybe it was 10 or more? How many wide receivers have 10 or more?
No. That's
Am I just crazy? Did I make it up?
You must have.
Okay.
So yeah, you talked about Dion Burke. Yeah, he's their playmaker. He has 4 of the Purdue 6 touchdowns in the air for the year so far. Definitely going to be their go-to person, most likely in the red zone there. But they do tend to throw to their tight ends, just like what Purdue does, just like what Iowa does historically too. So
it's a Big Ten West thing.
Max Clare, I believe, is a undergrad. I have to remember the difference between the two here. Max Clare, redshirt freshman, 22 catches, 196 already, and the senior Garrett Miller has 110 yards for the season and 1 of those 6 touchdown catches. But on defense, though, Jared, I think the big surprise here on defense is their true freshman safety here, who leads the team in tackles. Yes, safety that leads the team in tackles and in interceptions.
Yeah. Here's the thing. One, it's not typically a good sign when your safety is leading the team in tackles. That's not typically a great sign. Those are tackles that your defensive lineman or your linebacker should probably be getting. If your safety is getting those tackles, that means that it's happening several yards down the field. That being said, Dylan Thieneman is a true freshman with those stats. Again, 53 tackles, 3 interceptions. Especially if he's also leading in picks. I mean, you just got to give him his due on leading it with picks. This appears to be an amazing scout job by the coaches at Purdue, snagging this dude out of Indiana. Again, true freshman, out of high school, absolutely killing it at Purdue right now. Also on the team, on the defensive side of the ball, Kydron Jenkins, he is their sack leader, four sacks, 5 tackles for a loss, 26 tackles. Purdue runs a 3-4, so that's something to keep an eye on. You don't see a lot of 3-4 in college football. So he's a linebacker, he's an outside linebacker, but he's also kind of just a wide, kind of a 7-gap defensive end in the way that outside linebackers in a 3-4 are sometimes, kind of a stand-up defensive end. Depending upon 7-gap, wide 7, wide 9, tech 7. It's been a minute. I was an offensive player. Anyway, how good your run defense is as a 3-4 defense is very often dependent upon the performance at nose tackle. We'll see how that performs for Purdue and the struggling Ohio State run offense. Listen, I've thought about it, and I officially have decided that I want Ohio State to be an air raid offense. I'm tired of watching the run game struggle, and I'm tired of watching the offense and Kyle McCord getting stuck in 3 and longs constantly, being stuck into obvious passing downs constantly. That being said, we don't got to show that to Penn State. So, in my own personal headcanon, we're going to see Ryan Day once again stubbornly stick to trying to establish a run game. And then maybe next week against Penn State, we'll bring out the brand new air raid offense. That's my thought process. As much as it sucks for Ohio State fans to throw screens. Maybe.
Honestly, at this point, find something that works.
Here's the thing. When your offensive line sucks at run blocking, is decent enough at pass blocking, and you have all those wide receivers and a 5-star quarterback,
just air it out. Just air it out.
Just throw the ball.
Just let's
row to run. Exactly, Sun Card. And then once you've spread them out and put the fear of God into them with your passing game, well, then those, then you can just hand it off to Henderson every once in a while. And while everyone else is going into retreat mode, trying to cover all these damn wide receivers, Henderson can just run wherever the hell he wants.
Yep, just hand it off to Chip, Chop, and Chisel there.
Yeah. Or whoever.
Any of the 3 or 5 running backs. Whoever.
No, we're redshirting Hayden. So any of the 4 running backs.
So then a Slipcat favorite here should be getting the ball then. Right, Jared? Right? Am I right?
Don't do that to Austin.
All right.
That always worked great for Oregon and BCS games. Hey, Oregon's 500 in BCS games, in playoff games. I don't recognize the BCS as a thing that actually happened. I've erased it from my memory, except for one game. I still claim one game.
Looking at the stats here, what are some interesting stats to look out for in this game here? I see here that third down conversions produce pretty good. They are 27. They're 27th in the country here, about 45.5% of the time.
Honest to God, Kyle, the nicest stat I could find about their offense.
Yes.
Points per game 73, yards per game 63, points per play 80, yards per play 83. I'm trying to find something nice to say about their offense, and I'm not finding it. Straight up, not finding it. And looking at their defense,
I think their defense is okay. I think their defense is okay.
73rd in the country, 62nd in the country, 72nd in the country, 53rd in the country, 99th in the country, 61st in the country, 85th in the country. I could tell you what all those individual things are, but you're not seeing them in a top 50 position in literally any category.
They're 15th in opposing completion percentage.
Great.
Okay.
That's the nicest thing we can say about is that sometimes the quarterbacks have a bad completion percentage against this defense.
Fair enough.
Like realistically, so yeah, they're holding opposing quarterbacks to under 55% completion percentage, but the opposing quarterbacks are also gaining 7 or more yards per attempt, which if you don't know how to scale that, it's not good. It's not terrible, but it's also not good.
Nah, it's not. All right, let's get into our predictions here, Jared.
Going into the predictions already?
Yeah, we still got a lot to talk about here. Got a lot to talk about, and we have Austin's over-unders as well here. So let's get into some predictions here. For this game, Ohio State versus Purdue, noon game on the Peacock.
Yeah, Sun Card. It was too soon. No, Kyle, don't read it. Don't read it.
Ohio State player to watch. What is the Ohio State player to watch for you, Jared?
Kyle McCord. It's time to air this bitch out. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's not. Save the air raid for Penn State. Now, does that mean that I don't want to see it? Because I still want to see it. The smart thing to do would be to like break out the brand new secret air raid offense against Penn State and to keep that under the wraps for now. But I still want to see it.
Yeah, I think in this game here, I'm going to cheat as well. I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. here. You're without Emeka.
I was cheating.
Most likely without Emeka in this game. I'm just going to assume he's not here, just based on reading the tea leaves from Coach Day here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Marvin. I'm going to go with Marvin for my pick here.
Sun Card in the chat says let Fleming eat. It's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he hasn't really eaten much this year.
Yeah.
All right, who's our guest picker this week, Jared?
Guest picker is Dinger.
What's up, Dinger?
Dinger says Ohio State running back. Will Henderson play? Yes, he will. He sent this before Ryan Day announced. But yes, he will. Will the line do anything?
That's debatable.
Will Chip hit the holes? Will there be holes to hit? Will Mayan get his mojo back after trucking a Maryland defender? Hey, Mayan just needs an opportunity to get on the field.
Yep.
With last week's performance, this is the spot I will be watching.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you gave a position and not a particular player, but sure.
Well, I think he was saying Henderson, but if Henderson doesn't play, Chip.
Got it.
That's how I interpret that.
Enemy player to watch here, Jared.
I'm getting with true freshman sensation out of West Lafayette, Dylan Thieneman. I don't think the Purdue offense is going to be able to achieve much against Ohio State. I think Ohio State has made two very good quarterbacks look very average the past 2 weeks, or the past 2 games anyway. And Hudson Card is not he's not a decent quarterback.
No, he definitely isn't here. But what's the one position that seems like always has a pretty good knack at getting at Ohio State here when it comes to Purdue? I'll go with the wide receiver here. We saw the previous wide receiver, Randall Moore.
Yeah.
Just bully his way.
Yeah.
Through Ohio State. I mean, DJ Knox had himself a good game as well back in 2018. But I'm going to go with the wide receiver here, Deion Burke, for my enemy player to watch.
If you were going to pick Deion Burke for the enemy player to watch, then you really should have picked Denzel Burke for the Ohio State player to watch. I feel like that would have been.
Yeah, it would have been.
It would have been very poetic of you if you had done that.
But that is where my key matchup is going to be. It is Burke on Burke. Actually, no.
No, do it. You got to do it.
It is. Yes, it's Burke on Burke.
You got to do it.
It's Burke on Burke is my key matchup.
I buried the lead. Nah, don't act like he thought he just pivoted to that right now.
Okay. What's your key matchup, Jared?
I promise.
What is your key matchup?
I trust Kyle wouldn't do that. You trust wrong. Key matchup to me will be Ohio State's running. I need to stop saying Ohio State's offensive line versus the other team's defensive line. That is the key matchup. That will be the key matchup for the rest of the year. I need to stop saying it. I keep saying it. I keep saying it over and over again.
You're going to say it again.
It's bad podcasting form to keep doing it.
But you're going to keep doing it.
But it's true. It's the glaring weakness of this team. Ohio State's offensive line versus the front seven of Purdue. See, I switched it up a little bit.
Going back here, so enemy player to watch for my guest picker. He also picked Dylan. Right star on a dim defense. Freshman safety is their leading tackler and should be fun to watch chasing down Ohio State receivers. And he has for the key matchup, it is Ohio State versus Ross-Ade Stadium. The best news was Fox announcing a noon kick as the darkest of magics won't be available in daylight. A lot gets made of the record since 2000, but unlike this Saturday, all those losses were played, at least partially, in the dark. So yes, noon Eastern, 11 Central there. So is it Central that time? I'm not sure, but either way, there'll still be plenty of light by the time the clock's hit 0.
With the only Gary is in the Central time zone for Indiana. The rest of it's in the Eastern time zone.
Okay. All right, the spread here, Jared. I didn't even look at what the spread is. How bad of me. All right, it closed as CBS Pick'em closed it, 19.5. Spread is Ohio State by 19.5 points. Who do you got, Jared?
You know, I'm not 100% sure where to go with this. Which is funny to say because my final score prediction is absolutely going to have Ohio State covering. So yes, I pick Ohio State to cover because the number has to add up to a certain number because I'm committed to the bit. So the final score prediction is going to be ridiculous. But the point, I think Ryan Day once again is going to absolutely try his damnedest to establish a running game, and that's going to eat a lot of clock, and that's going to inhibit the offense, and that's going to really put covering at a premium, or it's going to make covering really hard. So I'm going to pick Ohio State to win, obviously, and I'm going to pick Ohio State to cover. But should you pick Ohio State to cover if you're putting actual money on the line? You probably shouldn't. Final score prediction. Ohio State 49. Nah, I can't give Purdue 20. Just put 49-20. Ohio State, they'll both score less than that. Like, if I were being honest, it's probably more like 38-10. But I'm committed to the bit.
So ever since the Notre Dame game, I have always gone against Ohio State covering the spread, I believe.
So the last two games. It's a very dramatic way of saying the last two games.
Well, I also did against sure.
No, those that's it. Those are the last two games. Unless you picked Ohio State to not cover against the bye week.
That's true. And I've been very skeptical of Ohio State to cover, and they covered last week, barely, but I think they'll finally get it turned around here against a Purdue team that just is going to lack the firepower to be able to put up enough points for them to stay in it with Ohio State. I just don't think there's enough players on this offense that Purdue can go ahead and just keep up. I just don't see it here. So I got my final score of Ohio State 42, the Boilermakers 13.
That's, I'm sure, more accurate than my prediction.
Which, yes, Suncard is a cover. So, our guest picker, Jared
Dinger
says here, preparation for this week started with the play calling in the first half of the Maryland game. By forcing the team to deal with constantly being in a terrible spot, it won't be a shock for them when things go screwy in West Lafayette. The O-line should look improved, in quotes, getting a chance to go against a poor Purdue defense, while the Bullets, who have held each of their 5 opponents to their lowest scoring totals of the year,
good stat,
should be fine. Yes, that is. Should be fine holding Purdue to less than 14. Expect a sluggish first half and a strong second, with Ohio State pulling away for a score that looks better than it feels.
I co-sign all of that. That's a very accurate prediction for the game.
I'm going to guess Dinger picked Ohio State then. This is how I'm reading that.
Did he not actually say it? Did I maybe not copy all of it? Hold on. Game prediction. Yada. I did miss. He says 59-10 Ohio State. Because
59-10,
which is a nice prediction, because Dinger is also committed to the bit.
That is a nice number. All right, Austin, you are up here. I see you in the chat here. It is time for Austin's over-unders. Hi. All right, so we will start with Mayan carries. He has here at 7.5 as the over/under.
How many carries does Mayan have on the season at this point?
Oh boy, let me look real quick as I am slowly clicking through here. Mayan Williams has 25 carries
More than I
for
was
96,
anticipating.
96 yards.
More than I was anticipating, if I'm being honest. I'm going to go under. Henderson's back. Travion appears to be running back number 2. That leaves Mayan at running back number 3. I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under as well. If that number is 7.5, and he has not even hit that, even with Mayan being, or excuse me, that is Mayan, even with Henderson being out last weekend, yeah, not going to hit that.
Austin says, to be fair, I didn't know Henderson was back when I made that number. Fair.
Easy pick. All right. Next one here is Hudson Card touchdowns at 1.5. Well, if I'm going to go with my prediction, I'm going to go under.
Yeah, my prediction of 20 was again for the bit. So I'll also go under.
Okay. All right. Tate/Ballard catches at 4.5.
So with Emeka Buka out, that makes this plausible. Whereas, I don't think they have a combined 4.5 catches on the year yet. But
they do combined for the year, but that's because Tate has 5.
Okay.
And Ballard doesn't have any.
All right. You didn't really have to call out Ballard like that, Kyle. With the Mecca out, I'm still going to say under, but it's a good number, Austin. It is a good number. I just tend to think that a lot of the Emeka targets are going to go, I would say, mostly to Fleming and Xavier.
All right. Ohio State forced turnovers at 2.5.
Forced turnovers.
Ohio State forced turnovers. Surprisingly, Ohio State's done pretty good this year in forcing turnovers here. Didn't talk much about Purdue and how many turnovers they have.
They are minus half of a turnover margin per game. They're minus a half. Giveaways per game, they're 1.7. So, but as you said, Ohio State is forcing more turnovers. 3 feels like a lot to bet on, especially since I don't know how many. If the Ohio State defense is doing its job, I don't think Purdue is going to have a whole lot of snaps in order to have opportunities to turn over the ball. Ideally.
Yeah, I think 2. I think 2 is a good number.
I think the number's 2.
Yeah. So in this case, I'll go under. But I do like that. I think 2 is that magic number.
Yeah. I think if I were to make a prediction, the prediction would be 2. So.
Thieneman tackles at 6.5.
Over.
I agree with that. Over.
I think there's a damn good chance he gets 10 or 12.
And especially if Ohio State goes pass happy.
I don't think it matters.
True.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think he, no matter what Ohio State does, I think he probably gets anywhere between 8 to 12.
Ohio State rushing yards as a team, 118 and a half.
Under.
So as a whole, where's this at here? They are averaging.
I might go over.
Purdue is averaging 153.8 yards per game on the ground. I think Ohio State will get it done
As in
here.
allowed?
They've allowed 153.8 yards per game.
Okay.
So I think Ohio State will get it done here. I think they'll be able to have more success on the ground here. So I'm going to go over with this one. I just gotta believe they gotta go.
Well, here's
over.
the thing, especially with Henderson back, he breaks like one 50, 60 yarder, and you're maybe halfway there. So yeah, I'll go over.
Okay.
But we stink. They also stink. And Henderson's, like I said, Henderson's good enough that, like, I envision a carry for Henderson in which he starts to go like off guard. Purdue overcommits. He takes a jump cut to the outside. There's no one there. There's a giant clusterfuck of people just all jammed into the, in around the guard. He bounces it outside and takes it for like 67 yards and a touchdown. And that's half of that number.
And the last one here from Austin. Ohio State touchdowns scored by players with numbers over 18.
Okay. We're getting goofy with it.
So that means obviously no Marv, no Stover, no Buckeye's if he were to play, no Fleming, no Tate, no X.
But with the number set at 18, he's just asking about running backs. No Stover. He's just asking running backs.
What about Scott?
Okay, G. Scott. A lot of defensive players, but not all the defensive players. Like, we don't get Denzel Burke, but we do get Iggy. We do get Proctor.
I'm going to go.
Oh, that's
here.
right. Iggy changed his number to 1. Why was I still thinking he was 20?
I'm going to
get 20 during the
here.
spring. I don't know why my mind hasn't updated that yet.
Yeah, I'll go over.
I think if he had set the number, and by the number I mean the jersey number, not the 1.5 number. If he had set it at 19 over 19 and taken Trainum off the board, I think I'd have said under. But with the number set at 18 and I get Trainum, I'm going to go over.
Yes. Good call. Good call, Jared.
It's the Trainum bonus. It's the Trainum bonus. It's everything I need. If there was fantasy college football, people would hate Trainum for being a touchdown vulture. No, that was a good one, Austin. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was all of Austin's over-unders here. We got anything else, Jared? Anything else you want to mention or discuss before we wrap things up here?
No, I mean, I do want to mention that we will be having a social screen this Saturday at noon in the Discord server. I don't know what game we might be watching. But we are having a social screen in the... Was that subtle? We are having a social screen in the Discord server at noon on Saturday. We'll vote. No, we didn't vote this week. I want the executive decision on it for... I don't know. I just had a stream of conscious thought that maybe people might have a hard time seeing their favorite team play for, reasons. Now, I don't know who's everyone's favorite team is. I'm going to stop talking before I get myself in trouble. Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. Everyone, including non-paid member of the Discord, non-members of the Discord server, can watch the social screen along with everyone. The paid members have voice privileges during the social screen where they can talk back to us, call me dumb, tell Kyle how much they love him, but then call me stupid. It's the opportunity for our Discord people to talk back to us, if nothing else. But that is a premium feature, the ability to talk during the social screen. But everyone can watch the social screen. Kyle, those are the plugs. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
What about a boom? You want a boom, Jared?
I do want a boom.
How about a Javen Boggs from Cocoa, Florida, the latest recruit to commit to Ohio State. He's a 2025 kid, which that name sounds familiar, Jared, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I wonder if 2 weeks ago I put him in our mock class for 2025. Huh.
Yeah, don't let the
sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, don't let the numbers fool you. You look at it right now, October 10th, 11th, 12th, whenever you're listening to this here, shown as a 3-star wide receiver. That's going to go up here. Yeah. There's a reason.
Very
there's a reason Brian
is a very Chris Olave situation.
Yeah. Yes. There's a reason Brian Hartline went after him.
This is the first wide receiver in the 2025 class. This isn't just like, let's fill a spot. Nah, they wanted him. So you can look at the recruiting rankings and be like, oh, is he actually any good? Yeah.
So Austin's going to have a chance to see him play in a few weeks.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Nope. That's it. That is all I got here, Jared. Why don't you head us out here?
All right. Tonight's ending music brought to you by the Floorwalkers. That's right. The Floorwalkers. They will be ending today's show. And with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are the Floorwalkers.